Aloha mai, o kia ka moʻolelo o Kūʻulakai a me Hinapukuiʻa. This is the story of Kūʻulakai and Hinapukuiʻa and their young son Ai. This is a shorter version of a much longer moʻolelo that has very intricate details, and you may have read in the written version by Moke Manu. Like we know, many moʻolelo have many different versions. So let's get right into it. So on the coast of a place called Hana, on the Mokupuni, the island of Maui, at a place specifically called Lehoʻula, close to a puʻu, a hill called Kahuiki, in Hana, lived Kūʻulakai and his wahine, Hinapukuiʻa. Now, Kūʻulakai had a brother who took care of the moka, the mountainside, and he, just like his name, took care of the kai of this area. Hinapukuiʻa. Hina has a beautiful name, meaning Hina, the gathering, the calling together of the iʻa, the food of the ocean, right? The things of the ocean that swim around and live in the ocean. They enjoyed their kuleana, their daily work of their relationship with all of the things in the ocean. Kūʻulakai built fish ponds. He was very skilled and very knowledgeable on how to make sure he was able to have an abundance of food for not only the people of Hana Maui, but also his ali'i, Kamohoali'i. So every day, Ku and Hina made sure there was food, i'a, and everything they would gather for that day for a retainer to come and take to their ali'i, their chief. One day, the retainer never showed up. Ku and Hina thought this strange, but didn't think anything of it until a few hours later. They started to see warriors gathering firewood and bringing it and stacking it around their hale. That's when they thought to themselves, there must have been some kind of misunderstanding. Well, what really happened was the retainer was unable to gather the i'a from Ku and Hina and went straight to the li'i and told a lie. He said that when he went to Ku and Hina, that they did not have the i'a makaukau, they did not have the i'a ready for him. And they said to tell the king, tell the chief, Kamohoali'i, that they would not be supplying i'a from that day forward. Well, the king became very enraged and without thinking ordered his warriors to gather firewood and burn down the hale and make sure that Ku, Hina, and Ai was in there. Now Hina, at this time, she gathered 3 big gourds and she put them into the hale, making sure that the warriors didn't see her. Then she, Ku, and Ai, they went into the ocean and waited and saw what happened. Well, before you know it, it was makaka, all the wood was around the hale, and the warriors, not seeing Ku and Hina anywhere, assumed that they were home, lit the fire, and within the fire they heard 3 loud bangs. It was the ipu, the gourds, exploding in the fire, and they thought that they had fulfilled the orders of their chief. Well, when that happened, Ku, Hina, and Ai retreated into the dark, deep ocean, and with them took all of the i'a, all of the sea life among the coastline. Nothing was left. Well, a few days and a few weeks happened, and people with their baskets and everything they couldn't even go out on the canoes to fish. There was nothing in the ocean. Word came to Kamali and he didn't believe, so finally he went down to the ocean and he cried out after he saw that there was nothing. There was nothing along the coastline. He knew that he had made a mistake, so he cried out with anguish. When Ku heard him, he instructed his son Ai, you must return, and you have 2 kuleana, 2 things you need to fulfill. The first thing is you are going to meet our chief. Kamohali'i. You're going to explain what happened, the misunderstanding, and you're going to teach him how he is going to mihi, how he is going to ask forgiveness from your mother and I. And after he fulfills this, only then will the fish and everything return to the coast. The second thing you are to do, he says, is you're then after that going to travel around the island of Maui. You're going to show everyone how to build these fish ponds that we built. You're going to show everyone how to create a ku'ula, a fishing shrine. You're going to show them the rituals so that they can always ask for myself and your mother to kokua, to help them in catching and gathering fish for their catch. You're going to instruct them the ceremony and how to offer part of their catch as mahalo, as a thank you and in gratitude for the catch that we will help them with. After you're finished with the island of Maui, you must go through all of the islands among us and share this knowledge so that people know how to create this relationship with the kai and everything in it. So I leaves his mother and father, and he goes and he instructs Kamohali'i how to mihi, how to ask for forgiveness. And after all of that ceremony is done, the fish started to come back, and they come back to the coastline of Hana. The people are so excited and happy. Then I sets on his quest, and he shares this knowledge of loko'i'a, of fish ponds, of ku'ula, of the fishing shrines, and the ko'a, the coral that always sits by the ku'ula. And he teaches and shares the knowledge of his father and his mother and his ohana. So this Mo'olelo is a different version from the written version that was shared by Moke Manu. Now, in that version, Hina and Ku actually perish in the fire. They burn. Now, fire can represent purification, transformation, and regeneration. So, in the burning of the bodies of Ku and Hina, what it did was actually have the transformation of them going into their akua being, their spirit being, and going into the ocean. Now, the other thing too was that I didn't return back to Hana from the ocean very quickly. He actually, he was actually there, but he escaped from the fire, and he hid in a cave, and he allowed the famine to really take place. That people were really in dire straits because there was no food, which actually talks really indicates for us the knowledge and the understanding of our Kanaka, of our Hawaiians of old, that they understood if they did not ma'alama, if they did not care for and do cultivation of the fish and everything in the ocean, that it would disappear. That this resource was dependent on the relationship that we have with the kai, with the ocean and everything in it. So, mahalo and ahui ho until we meet again.